Deer hunting is a $600 million business in our state, so anything that threatens our flourishing white-tailed deer population is cause for concern. And anything known as chronic wasting disease cannot be good. With more on what that is and how it's showing up in Oklahoma deer, we're joined by reporter Jason Doyle. Jason.
Rich, the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation is keeping a close eye on the wild deer population since the detection of chronic wasting disease over the past couple of weeks.
I killed that deer in southeast Oklahoma.
Deer hunter Rick Nolan describes how he harvested this deer even with a broken finger and his arm in a cast up to his elbow.
Trying to load that thing in the back of a Polaris Ranger with this arm in a cast by myself created quite an afternoon of fun.
I'll bet.
Nolan has been hunting since he was a kid and has passed on those skills to some of his grandkids as well. After all these years of deer hunting, it didn't surprise him that chronic wasting disease, or CWD, was discovered in Oklahoma deer recently.
I wasn't surprised. I mean, it's all around. It's been around for 50-something years. And Texas has quite a few counties that have CWD.
Nolan is right, according to the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation.
We're the 30th state to have found it in our wild herd, so there's a lot we can learn from the states around us.
Micah Holmes is in Santa Fe, New Mexico for the yearly Western Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies meeting. He says this is the first time CWD was detected in wild deer here in the state, but was previously detected in other species.
Well, chronic wasting disease has been found in captive elk herds a couple different times in the state. It had never before this summer been found in a wild herd. Chronic wasting disease can be found in deer and elk. Then about a month ago, it was first discovered in a case in Texas County.
That first detection of CWD in a wild deer was near Guymon, with the second case found in Woodward County just a couple of weeks ago.
So in both those cases, those were reported to us by the public who said this deer is not looking right. It's not acting normally. It's not fleeing when the tractor drives by. So, we appreciate folks being our eyes and ears out there.
By the time someone sees those symptoms of chronic wasting disease, it means the deer is in late stages of the disease.
You actually can only see symptoms in the late stage of that particular disease. And so it's called chronic wasting disease for a reason. So in the late or the end stage of the disease, the animal is going to have muscle loss, going to be very, very thin. They have difficulty swallowing, so one of the classic hallmark signs that you see is drooling.
CWD impacts a deer's brain when it's infected.
Chronic wasting disease is what we call a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy, or a TSE. And so basically what it is a misfolded protein that creates holes in the brain and leads to death of that particular animal. It only affects certain species of cervids, so our white-tailed deer, our mule deer, moose, and elk are the ones that are going to be the most affected by CWD.
Much like mad cow disease.
It is similar. So mad cow disease, or bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSE, is in the same family as chronic wasting disease, but it only affects bovines, whereas CWD only affects cervids.
While officials are keeping an eye on things, Rick Nolan isn't worried about CWD right now.
It's just not that alarming right now. I know the Wildlife Department's taking care of it. There's been a lot of research put into it, so it's just not that big of a deal right now. Now, what that ultimately looks like, who knows, but it's just not that concerning to me.
We've got a plan that we've had for a number of years, a chronic wasting disease strategy. So when it does come, and we're not surprised that it's here right now, and not surprised that it's coming, because we've been preparing for this for a while.
Holmes agrees with Nolan that there's no need to panic and adds that the Wildlife Department is keeping an eye on the approximately 750,000 wild white-tailed deer in Oklahoma.
We're taking a very measured, pretty conservative approach to this is not a time to panic or anything like that. We're just working through the steps in our plan to, it's not something that we can prevent, but, we hope we can mitigate the spread and slow down the spread.
Holmes adds, for those who want to know more about CWD, they have resources.
We have a chronic wasting disease a page on our website. You can go there and learn more about it and if you don't know what it is, you can find all the basics.
If a deer or other cervid catches CWD, it's pretty much over for the animal.
It is always fatal, and currently there is no vaccine and there is no treatment for the disease itself.
The assistant state veterinarian says luckily chronic wasting disease has yet to transmit to humans.
There has been no known species crossover into humans. I know there's a lot of research out there, and there's a lot of great information on the CDC website about it, but today it's not been documented.
For those deer hunters who want to be more cautious before making some deer chili, the Wildlife Conservation Department is there to help.
If folks want their deer tested, we may be able to do that because we want to stay on top of this and to see how far it is spreading, how fast, and what the prevalence rate is.
Unless he hears something different from the Department of Wildlife Conservation, rest assured, Rick Nolan will be in a deer blind later this year.
It's game on as far as I can see.
You'll find Rick and other hunters with their bow and arrows looking for their next big buck starting on October 1st when deer archery season begins in Oklahoma.